evening, ladies. We got to the 7th night of Chanukah, and I cannot believe that it's just passing by so fast. And I always feel like the holidays are just running, and I can't hold on to them. They're just running so fast. So there's something I wanted to learn with you, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to squeeze it into one video and not make it like 15 minutes long. So if it won't fit into one video, I'll do it tomorrow, but I'm hoping that it will, because I have other things to teach tomorrow, so we'll see. Okay, in the Talmud, in the Masechet of Ta'anit, it says something very interesting. It says that during the time of the Second Temple, other than Chanukah, the Jewish nation faced other difficulties and other challenges that they fought against, and they won. But all these happy events are now erased, and we don't mention them at all because the temple was destroyed. So you know what, we fought against them and we won, but eventually, bottom line, we don't have the temple, so what are we celebrating? And that's what the Talmud says. But on the other hand, we have Chanukah. Chanukah happened during the time of the Second Temple. The temple was destroyed, and still we're celebrating Chanukah every single year. So what happened there? Why did we forget, or we're not mentioning all the other events that took place during the time of the Second Temple, the second Beit Mikdash, but we do mention Chanukah? So they answer that Chanukah changed our nation. And there's something very interesting. Chanukah and Purim were both established by the sages. In the Torah itself, we have Hashem is instructing us to celebrate. We are told to celebrate Sukkot and to celebrate Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, and it says to celebrate Pesach and Shavuot, but it doesn't say Chanukah and it doesn't say Purim. Both of these holidays were declared and given to us by the sages, because they happened much later. It happened, Purim, the story of Purim took place between the temples during those 70 years, and the story of Chanukah took place during the Second Temple, at the time of the Second Temple. So it happened much later, and we already spoke about it, that they only declared these holidays as holidays only the year after, when they saw that the illumination, that the spiritual light that Hashem has given us during these times repeats itself. Like all the other holidays, that the same light, the same holy spiritual light repeats itself. Okay, so these two holidays were declared by the sages, and the Talmud says that both these holidays changed us as a nation. Why? When Hashem gave us the Torah, the entire Jewish nation stood at the bottom of the mountain of Mount Sinai, and Hashem gave them the Torah. And there are two very interesting things that we're told about this event. We're told that the Jews said, Na'aseh v'nishma, which means we are going to do whatever you tell us, and we will learn, we will listen. And we know the very, very famous learning that we're told about this, that first they said Na'aseh, which means we'll do, and then they said Nishma, which means we'll hear, we'll listen, we'll learn. They're saying, whatever you tell us, we will do. Whatever it is, we're not questioning it, and we're not doubting it. Whatever you tell us, we will do. And then, yes, we will learn, we will listen, we will hear, but we will do whatever you tell us. And that's the significant difference between us and other nations that questioned. Remember them, they're very famous. But on the other hand, we're told, Kafa aleihim har kegigit. What does it mean? It means that Hashem, as if, Kafa aleihim, it means Hashem, it's as if Hashem held the mountain of Sinai up over their heads like a bucket. Like, if you don't accept this Torah, I will crush you under this mountain and you will all die. You have to take it. So they didn't have any other option. So one of the, that's a little scary, but that's what it said. Hashem says, I created this world for a purpose. If you're not accepting this purpose, there's no point of holding this world at all. So what is right? Is it Na'aseh v'nishma? They accepted it, they wanted it, they accepted the Torah willingly, or we have Kafa aleihim har kegigit, which means Hashem forced them to accept the Torah. So the Talmud says, it depends. On this event, they were given both the written Torah, that we have the Torah, the Chumash, Bereshit, Shmot, with all the 5 books, And they were also given the unwritten Torah, the Torah that were given in the Talmud, in the Mishnah, the Halacha. And back then it was the unwritten Torah, and they were not allowed to write it. They only wrote it after the destruction of the Second Temple against Halacha. They were not allowed to write it, but they wrote it because they said, we're going now towards a long exile. And if we won't write it down, we'll forget. We don't want it to be forgotten, so they wrote it down even though it was forbidden. It was the right thing to do. But beforehand, 2,000 years since the moment they were given the told Torah, the unwritten Torah on Mount Sinai, until they wrote it, it took 2,000 years that they passed it on from one generation to the other by heart. And we're told that the written Torah they accepted willingly. They wanted the Torah. It's easy. It's 613 commandments, but well, it's easy things to do, like don't kill and don't lie and keep Shabbat. All these things are easy. But the unwritten Torah, the Torah Sheba'al Peh, the Torah that we're not allowed to write, the one that in the Talmud, in the Halacha, the Mishnah, that's hard. It's a lot of small details that sometimes it's hard to follow. And they weren't so sure they wanted it. So Hashem told them, either you accept it, or it will be your end and the entire world's end. So they accepted it. Okay. We're not going to fit it into one video. Anyways, so that's what happened on that event. So what's the problem with that? That they could say when a person passes away, when they passed away back then and went to heaven, that if they would have been asked, why didn't you keep the Torah? They could have said, I didn't want it. I didn't accept it. I was forced to take it. So you can't punish me for not doing it. You can't force me to do it and then punish me for not doing it. I never chose it. And then, so that was a problem. And on Purim, we're told that they accepted it willingly. They accepted it with love. And it was exactly the same way it was on the Mount Sinai. It wasn't only the people who were living, all the souls of all those who were supposed to be born, all the souls of Israel were there. So the same thing happened on Purim. They accepted the Torah again. All the future generations that come as well, we accepted the Torah willingly, with love and with happiness. And that's what happened on Purim. So what happened on Chanukah? On Chanukah, they actually fought for all the things that they accepted willingly. It's not just that they said, okay, we're accepting the Torah, we will do whatever we're told, we want it, we love it, and we will do it. They said, we're going to fight for the freedom to do this. We want to do it so much, even though that you can say, well, we're forced, the Yevanim, the Greeks are forcing us. There is like a death sentence for whoever follows the Torah, so technically they didn't have to, but they said we're going to fight and we're going to give our lives for this Torah that we chose and that we love. And that is why Purim and Chanukah are different, and that is why they're so special. And even though the temple was destroyed, it's true, we're still celebrating it, because we're saying we are going to fight over these mitzvot that we were given, and we are going to choose them again and again and again. And we're going to fight for the freedom to do these mitzvot even when we don't have to. And that's what's special about Chanukah. Thank you so much for joining me for another evening of learning. Have a good evening. Bye.